Welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
We are talking about Vanderpump Rules tonight, season 11, episode 13. So I did some investigating because we were talking about this. There are 20 episodes.
Total.
That's a lot.
And
we're only
how
at
many
13.
Are we on?
We're on 13.
You know, it is a lot. And I remember that the Housewives used to have that many. But if you'll notice, like, I think last year Jersey had like 14. They're getting less and less.
I guess it depends on what's going on. Now, Bravo didn't confirm that, but I looked a lot of places and it specifically said Bravo didn't confirm that. But it's looking like there's still a lot of story to find out about, you know, like we haven't learned it all yet. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, now we're gonna get to meet Ariana's boyfriend on screen.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that.
I am too. You know, I was thinking about this. Did she really started dating him like within weeks after everything broke?
Yeah, she met him because she went to that wedding like the next weekend.
I have to say, I really do think that if you were still very intimate with your partner, I don't think it would have been that easy to move on with somebody else. I think that there's something to what Sandoval was saying, how they weren't intimate with each other. And well, even if you're not intimate with each other and take away like what's going on in the valley aside, when you have little kids, you know, you're married, you have the other stresses. There was no reason for them. You know what I'm saying? Like what's going on in the valley, I back that. I back that. You got little kids, it's stressful, you're fucking exhausted. I don't know. They weren't exhausted.
Yeah, but you know what? She suffers from depression. You know, and he's always out partying. And listen, if your partner's not being kind to you, of course you're not going to want to be intimate with them.
No, you're not.
It really has nothing to, it's really a mental game, you know?
Right.
And
right.
if he's out partying every night and, working on this Schwartz and Sandy's, listen, I could see it happening, you know?
Yeah.
I could see it happening. And it's not like it's not like she said, oh no, we were intimate. I mean, she did give specific instances like, you did sleep with me then. So it's not like they weren't doing it at all.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I just think it was very quick for her to move on with somebody else, after your 10-year relationship abruptly ends.
I do too, but you know what?
But listen, I like the guy. I think the guy seems nice, so good for her, and I hope it works out.
And he's across the country, so I mean, at this point, it's long distance, so it's a whole lot easier. Imagine if we were long distance.
Be fucking great. I'd fucking love that.
So Jax goes over to James and Allie's, and I just was laughing again because they keep showing that stupid airplane going over the house. I think like 3 times in the first 15 minutes we saw the airplane.
It's definitely the same scene of the same airplane going over at the same time. They just keep showing it just to be shady.
Yep. I thought it was funny. James and Jax are talking about hosting a brunch at Sir. I thought that was weird. Like, I mean, I get it why LVP is like, what are you doing here? I thought that whole thing was weird. Jax is pissed at Katie because she's telling Brittany that he cheated on her. Well, you know what? Who cares? If you're solid with your girl, who cares?
And like Katie said, and I'm not a Katie defender, but in this case I will be, it's all over social media.
Exactly.
So I'm not starting the rumor. I'm just repeating what I saw.
Right. Exactly. Then Brittany goes over to Scheana's place and they're talking about Scheana and Brock, if they're going to have any more children. And Scheana says that she doesn't want to get pregnant again because I guess she had such a tough delivery with Summer Moon.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that means they don't want any more children or if she just wants to have a surrogate. I don't know what that means.
I think she's talked about a surrogate in the past. I think she has because when Ariana froze her eggs, I think Scheana said that.
Okay, good. Because I think that, Summer Moon needs a sibling,
Yeah. I saw
especially now with Lala.
Yes, exactly. Well, she said at the time, Brittany and Jax were still on good
Right.
terms. And she said when, what do they call their son?
Cruz.
Cruz. Because that's not his real name, right? His name is something longer.
No, his name is Cruz.
I thought it was like Cassius or something, and they called him Cruz. I don't know, but you're
I
probably
don't.
right. But when Cruz and Ocean have little siblings, she's probably going to start asking, which they do.
Yeah.
We all know that's what kids do.
Right. Right.
Although Tess never asked first. I should have taken that cue.
And mine were so young they didn't even have a chance. Like,
No,
every
they
2
didn't.
years they're like, yeah.
Oh God, she's pregnant again. Here comes another one.
Then Brock meets up with his friend Luke, and he's talking about how they, still need to get a nanny and it needs to be more consistent. And I get where he's coming from. Like, listen, he wants to be the man of the house. He wants to go out and earn a living, and he loves spending the time with Summer, but he wants to be able to go and pursue other things. It's not like he wants to go hang out with the boys. Like, he wants to be, successful. He's always been successful,
And I felt the same way. I stayed home for a year with Tess. And although part of it going back to work was certainly financially, but I also wanted to be around adults. I've worked full time since I'm 22 years old. I was 29 when I had Tess. Like, that was like culture shock to me to not go to work every day. I enjoyed that year tremendously, but I went back to work 3 days a week and it was good for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What else? So Scheana starts crying as she's talking to Brittany, and she's talking about her anxiety and her OCD and how she was on Zoloft and that was making her feel better, but then she was tired all the time, so she stopped taking it because she needed to be around for Summer. Which I get that, but then I feel like she needs to do something else. You can't just, if you're crying, obviously there's something going on. Like, you need to address that.
And it's trial and error with those medicines.
Yes, exactly.
Like, so you had a reaction of, being tired on the Zoloft. So try something else and maybe you won't have that reaction, but it will still help you,
with the not have the
balanced.
intrusive thoughts, because that's what she was saying, that she was having the intrusive thoughts about, Brock cheating on her with Lala, because people say it all the time. And, we know that Lala would never do that. But
did you see her face when she said it? I don't want to jump.
Yeah, no, but
Lala's face when she overheard her say that, she was like, what? Like,
right. And I'm sure it's a conversation after that she certainly had with Lala. And, it's nothing against Lala. It's just that, and Lala gets that. She has her own struggles that she deals with, Yeah.
So
then I thought it was funny that Katie meets up with Schwartz, and
that was the best scene of the show.
I know. I like it when they're getting along.
Me too. I love their relationship now. It makes me like I can get through a scene with Katie.
Yeah, I agree.
When it's with Schwartz.
I agree. And they're talking about her date with Tori, and then they both text Tori to see who she texts back first. I'm like, this is funny. I mean, I think it's funny.
Yep. And she texts Schwartz back first.
Yeah, but I think that Katie was right. The reason he got texted back first, because she got his last.
It just showed up.
Yep. So then Brock and Scheana go out on their anniversary date. And, he's talking to Scheana about how he wants to take the pressure off her. And, then she's like, listen, this is your second chance, and he starts crying. And, like, he's not proud of what he did, but he can't change it. He can't change it.
No, and I wonder if I want to believe that he truly has tried to get in touch with those other kids. I want to really believe that.
Oh, he definitely did, because they were in Australia for Christmas time, around the holidays, and
so he did see them.
He didn't. She wouldn't let him.
So he went there, and the ex wouldn't let him see them.
Yeah. Now I don't know how old they are, but I don't know if she wouldn't let them or they didn't want to see him. I don't know, because there was issues, but he is, I'm sure he's caught up on all the child support. I'm sure that's all taken care of.
Right.
And
I did think it was very funny that as Scheana was telling him to put his manliness aside, he was sipping a pink martini. Did you notice? He was like, she's like, you're going to have to put your manliness aside. I'm like, not looking very manly right now.
The funny thing is I remember when they were walking into the restaurant and I looked at Brock's ass. I was like, wow, he's got a good ass. And then she commented about it at the dinner.
He really does, though.
He really does.
And he mentioned when he was playing with his friend, how he played rugby, and that's how he knows O'Sheen from Southern Hospitality, rugby.
Right. And he had a gym. Like, he sold the gyms. He came to the U.S. to play, I guess, in the NFL, and that didn't work out for him. But he certainly could be a fitness trainer. I mean, look at him. He's in great shape.
Yep, for sure.
He's in great shape. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Let's see. He said also he wants to have a conversation with a therapist, which means, listen, that's great. He's really willing to put the work in. And I really like that about him.
Yeah.
Because many men are not. Like, he's like, he wants this to work.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of guys would not agree to that at all.
No, I really like Brock. I really am team Brock.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So, I don't know where we went from here, but for something... Oh, it must have been the Katie and Tom conversation. And I was thinking to myself, is Schwartz and Sandy's done? So I looked it up. It's still open. Okay. Schwartz and Sandy's is still open.
Okay.
I must have been thinking about that when Tom and Katie were talking about something.
Yeah. Well, then Tom did make the comment about, he needs to be more fiscally responsible because the last, business venture he went into with Sandoval, he's still dealing with the consequences of that. And they flashed to Schwartz and Sandy's. Yeah. Because I was thinking the same thing when I saw that.
Yeah. Because maybe he alluded to that. Maybe it wasn't open, but it is.
So then Schwartz is getting a tattoo of the dogs and Sandoval's there. And they're talking about how Kyle Chan invited them all to go to San Francisco to launch his new whiskey brand. And he asked Scheana to perform Good as Gold. So we get to hear it again.
Awesome.
And I thought it was funny. Will Sandoval's sitting there and talking, and he falls off the chair.
Out of nowhere. It was like when my sisters and her friends and my friends, we used to go to Hoboken. Somebody always fell off the stool every week. You're having in the middle of a conversation with somebody and they just fall. You're like, oh, he did the same thing.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Maybe he was drinking.
Maybe.
And we don't know.
Yeah, because he did say he's on his sober journey, right? Isn't he like...
Yeah, he did say that earlier in the season.
Then James and Allie are going to the face gym.
Find out where there's one around here.
That's a good idea. We should look into that.
Hell yeah.
At first
I thought it was like 1,000 sit-ups on your face or something.
I mean, is that what she said?
She said something like that.
Yeah.
Like, working the muscles in your face. It's like doing 1,000 sit-ups. I'm like, oh, let's find that.
Yeah, we should look for that.
Yeah.
And they're talking about someone watching Hippie because they're supposed to go to this wedding. And James doesn't want to leave Hippie with anybody because of everything that had happened with Hippie. And Hippie's his best friend and he loves Hippie and yada, yada, yada. And you can see she's a little bit upset about it. I don't blame her. I mean, I don't blame her, It's a dog. Either. It's a dog. Right?
And why can't you bring him to Vanderpump Dogs? Like,
well, how? She said that. She said, did you try and get in touch with so-and-so at Vanderpump Dogs? Because his brother wasn't going to be around.
Right. His brother was going away.
Right. So he was trying to do that.
Yeah. I mean, what better treatment? The dog's not going to get any better treatment anywhere than that place, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Exactly. And then Ariana's on FaceTime with Danny. And then that's when we find out that he's coming to San Francisco.
Mm.
Then they're all at SUR for the brunch, and Lisa's there with Guillermo. And we haven't seen Guillermo in a while.
Does he look like George Clooney, or is it just me?
Oh, I don't see George Clooney.
Oh, I see. I at first I was like, is she sitting there with George Clooney? Because you know me, I'm looking at my phone, I'm taking my notes, and I looked up, I'm like, that looks like George Clooney, and then I realized who it was. Oh, I thought he did.
And she asked, like, why are they having brunch here at SUR with Jax? Like, there was a big flyer about it. Like, it was, like, advertised. Like, Jax and James are, hosting a brunch together. And I don't know, like, was Jax DJing with James? Is that what it was about?
I mean, he put the headphones on for about 2 seconds, but
Yeah, I
it
mean,
is weird, especially hearing what she was saying. Now, I didn't follow Jax on social media when he got fired. I don't know what he was saying, but he apparently was saying something
yeah,
about Lisa. So she's right. Why would you want to come here after you bashed me in the media?
right. And then they cut to all the things he said on camera while he was still on the show. So it's
Right.
not, it's not like he respected her or showed
No.
her respect.
No.
So I'm glad she called him out on it, but then they squashed it. Then James invites Sandoval over to his house for the pool party after he invites everybody, like all the guys. Oh, so before that, Jax goes over and sits down with everybody, and him and Katie start a little bit with, just they're bickering.
Yeah. And of course, he has to tell Ariana right away.
Exactly.
Did you know Schwartz is moving in with Sandoval? Like, he can't help himself.
He really can't.
Yeah.
He can't.
He really can't.
So then when they're at the pool party, Katie's telling Lala, Scheana, and Ariana what Allie had said to her about going out of town for the wedding and Hippie. And I thought that was a little weird because then James walks in. Why is she telling them that? That really wasn't her place to be doing that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Why wasn't Allie there? Where was she?
And why wasn't Brittany there? Jax is like, I'm drinking. My wife isn't home and I got a babysitter. Well, if your wife's not home and you got a babysitter, why isn't she with you?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was very odd.
I did too.
Yeah.
And then James starts crying when he sits down and they talk to him about, the dog and how he really needs to put Allie first. And you really find out how much he is attached to this dog. I guess you know what it is? I guess he's been disappointed so many times. Even when he had the conversation with her that he wants to have children and get married. And she was just
not there for it.
Yeah. And then what happens with, Rachel? I guess he's like, okay, I can count on this dog. The dog isn't going to leave me. He's got this. He needs therapy, really.
He definitely needs therapy. Did you see Allie on Watch What Happens Live afterwards?
I did.
She kind of defended him about the Hippie thing. She was really, I mean, I don't understand why he's sleeping in bed with Hippie and she's sleeping in another bed with the cats. That's
weird.
Not good for their relationship.
No.
They need to figure that out.
Yes, they do.
I mean, love your dog and cats, but you have to sleep together as a couple because that's going to cause a lot of problems.
I agree. Okay, so then Jax and Katie start arguing at the pool party. More typical bickering.
Jax,
yeah.
Then I don't blame Katie one bit. Like I said, it's hard for me to defend her. I totally defend her in this area.
And then Schwartz pulls Ariana aside to tell her about the possibility of him moving in with Sandoval. Would you be mad at me? And she's like, no. He's got to do what he's got to do. But he
almost seemed disappointed. He was like, whoa, that's not the reaction I was looking for. He probably wanted her to be like, no, fuck that. You can. He'd be like, okay.
Yeah, he wants it out, right?
Exactly. Ariana said, no, I can't do it.
And then she said, this is probably the most expensive bromance ever.
For sure.
So then Scheana and Brock are fighting. So Brock is in the pool. And she wants to go home because she wants to put Summer to bed. And he's like, well, the nanny's there. She can put the, Summer to bed. And she's like, no, I want to go home and I want to read her a book and I want to put her to bed. But then that goes sideways because then Sandoval starts in about the song and how she could write that song. And then they have that whole big blowout where, she says that, what you did to me, what you did to Ariana messed me up. Now I can't, now I have these intrusive thoughts and it did affect me. And you're not the only one that this affected. And just because you didn't cheat on me. And then he has to go and make that comment. Well, you were the other woman.
That was a low comment. I agree. But I really think she's making everything about herself a little too much. I'm sorry she's having those intrusive feelings, but it's not Sandoval's fault that she's questioning Lala and Brock because of what people are saying online.
Well, listen.
Like, to me, one doesn't equate to the other.
She was just defending her writing the song. That's how she's, she wrote the song about what she went through. And so it happens to be about what happened with Sandoval. And that's what the argument was about. It was about the song, because then Brock comes in and says, listen, you wrote a song about Schwartz's mom and something about Rachel. So she can write whatever song she wants.
Yeah, that I agree with. But I don't, she's coming in so hot, screaming and yelling at him. Like, I personally feel like she's making a lot of it about herself.
Again, at this point, my opinion was she was just defending the song, because if he wasn't coming at her about the song, she wouldn't have been saying anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it came from, is that she's defending, like, listen, I'm entitled to do this. I had my own, experience with this. Just because you don't think it's valid, I wrote a song about it. And, I'm going to sing it, and it's going to make money, whether you like it or not. Yeah, and good for her.
That's what it comes down to. She, she definitely capitalized. And that's fine.
Yeah. Why not?
Right.
Listen, they have such
They're
a
all
short...
doing it. They're all doing it in every different ways. So...
Exactly. And they only have a short amount of time. You know what? This is like, you got to strike while the iron's hot. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially in this business that they're in.
Yep. For sure.
So that's all I have for Vanderpump. I guess next week we'll see a little bit of the San Francisco trip and all those shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So am I.
Before we get into the Valley, I just wanted to bring something up real quick. Did you happen to listen to Heather McDonald with Spencer Pratt?
I did.
Let me tell you something. I have never liked him, because I've watched, I watched Laguna Beach and then Into the Hills and all that when it first was out. I hated Spencer Pratt. I really liked him after that interview.
He's matured.
I really liked him. He's matured so much. He's much more likable. But can you believe what he was saying? I only have 2 points. Heidi's plastic surgeon died.
Oh, yeah.
Supposedly drove off of a cliff because he was looking at his phone. And Spencer was like, that's not him. Like, that guy probably packed his phone in a bag, put it in the trunk.
Right.
And then her lawyer died. And after that, he was like, okay, we need to get the fuck out of here. And they moved to Costa Rica. But I don't know I don't know who else the lawyer represented, but the plastic surgeon is the one that did Cassie's breast implants. And Diddy didn't like them and told him to take them out right away. And the doctor said, no, I have to wait 6 months. And then he dies.
Yeah. But he did do it because he forced him to do it.
Oh, he did do it?
Yes, because Cassie, I guess, put that in the lawsuit. Like, he did do it. That was part of her. Yeah. Yep. And
I just
then
thought that
dies.
Was really, really interesting.
So he would have been, corroborating her story. Like, she said that happened.
Oh, so that's why allegedly, they possibly got rid of him.
Yes. I know.
Whoa.
I know. It's crazy, right?
I mean, then all the stuff about Corey Gamble that he mentioned, but we could talk about that another time. I just wanted to bring that up real quick because I listened to it today and it was fresh in my mind, and I have such a poor memory. I know if I didn't bring it up, I'd forget. No
problem. I get that.
That was crazy though. But I did enjoy listening to him, and I listened to Teddy and Emily popping off. I forget what they were talking about, but they were talking about Vanderpump in the Valley.
Okay.
I love them together. Teddy and Emily. I just love Emily. I always have since she came on, but I love them on that podcast together.
I didn't hear that one yet, but I do like them too.
Yeah, they recap because Tamara won't watch Vanderpump in the Valley, so they recap that. And they were also recapping Vanderpump Villa, but they said on the last podcast they can't get through it. It's terrible, which is probably why Bravo didn't pick it up.
I think Bravo started to do it too. Somebody else was recapping it. Yeah, I think it was them. I'm not sure who it was, but
did they give up also, or are they still watching it?
I don't know, because honestly, whoever it was, I didn't listen to it because I was like, I'm not interested. Yeah,
no,
I'm not interested.
No.
So I don't remember who it was though.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Valley season 1, episode 6. I looked this one up. There's 10 episodes.
Oh, okay. So what are we on?
6.
So there's only 4 more episodes.
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So we start out with Luke and Kristen talking about doing premarital counseling because Danny had suggested that he do this, and he's going to use the same therapist that Danny and Nia used. And Luke is talking about how he wants to feel more at home in LA because he doesn't have any of his stuff there from Colorado. Like he likes to go fishing, and he doesn't even have a fishing pole.
Right.
Which I think that's weird. Like you're spending all this time in LA and you don't have any of your comforts there. I mean,
not only is that weird, it was a little weird that he took her prenatal vitamins. Did you catch that?
Yeah, that was weird. He's weird.
He's very weird.
He's very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and like go buy a fishing pole, bro. If you're gonna spend time in California, go buy a fishing pole.
Yeah. It's not that hard.
No. No, I'm sure there's a Dick's around somewhere.
Exactly. And then Jax pulls up on his golf cart to a bar named Stout to meet up with Jasmine. I didn't realize him and Jasmine were that close, or unless
Me
that
neither.
was just totally produced. I mean, it was a little odd.
It seemed produced because it seemed like somebody had to tell him what Brittany was saying at the girls' night. And I guess she was like, all right, I guess I'll take one for the team. The other ones were probably like, fuck him, he's an asshole.
Yeah. So, they talk about that, and Jasmine, gives him some advice, make her feel, sexy and make her feel appreciated. So, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we will see how that goes.
And then she goes on to say, you don't want to end up like Jesse and Michelle. And then Jack says to Jasmine, can this stay between you and I?
And the rest of the world, because there's cameras on us.
Right. And Jack says, Kristen said that there's a rumor that Michelle's been texting other people. And Jasmine says that is why Kristen said to Michelle, your secret's safe with me. She's like putting it all together. She doesn't know anything, but she's like, oh, that's why, she said your secrets are safe with me.
Right.
Then Jax is talking to Danny about an event he's having at the Mondrian for thinning hair.
Jax told.
Jax told Danny. And then Michelle in her confessional says that ever since she had the honest conversation with Jesse, she feels like they're just going through the motions. And now she realizes it would be better for Isabella to grow up with them separately, happy, instead of together and fighting. Because it's not good. It's not a good environment.
It's true. It's true. She's right.
I agree. She is right. Then Jason goes over to Nia and Danny's to help put together the crib and take out the bed. And then Jason shows up and
Jesse shows up.
And
that was hysterical, actually.
I mean, they don't know what the heck they're doing, those 3 guys. I think
really
Nia
don't.
probably was the one who wound up putting it together in the end.
She probably was. That was very funny watching them, though.
Yeah. So then Jesse's talking about his therapy session, his coaching therapy session, and that they set him up with a plant-based medicine guy who said he should try some sickle asylum and what is it called? I don't even know.
Echinacea?
I don't know what it is. Anyway, they're psychedelics. Yeah, whatever it is, I don't know how to pronounce it, but whatever they are, they're psychedelics.
Well, what the hell is that going to do?
Exactly. So he says what it's going to do is it's going to allow him, because he's such an alpha male, it's going to allow him to look at himself from the outside in so he can see his aggression on the other side.
It probably would work.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, because he's probably have an outer body experience, and then, your brain starts going and you start thinking and you really introspect. Not that I've never done mushrooms or anything like that. It's just not my gig. I don't fault anybody for doing it, but
right.
I think that's, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, listen, even sometimes you smoke weed and your mind starts going and you're you start thinking and about who you are and how you are and all that. So it might work. I mean, he can't do it on the daily, but maybe, go out into the desert and spend a couple hours out there tripping your balls off and see how you feel afterwards.
Yeah, but if he's out there, who's he going to show his aggression to? He's going to be out there by himself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he's not going to be aggressive if he's on those. He's just going to be chill.
I don't even know. I think it's weird. I mean, even Danny says that. Like, maybe he should really be like suggesting that you do more therapy together instead of,
Yeah, going
But
and tripping. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it does seem like he's trying to do all the things.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, but maybe it's just too late. Like maybe he should have done this already.
Yeah. I mean,
Teddy and Tamara were talking about it, and one of them was like, "Why would you go on a reality TV show?" And because I asked the same thing, and it must have been Tamara saying it, and Teddy was like, "Probably because somebody approached them." Honestly, I thought it was Teddy and Tamara this time. I could be wrong. It could have been Emily, but I thought it was Teddy. No, maybe it was Teddy and Emily. You're right. But Teddy was like, probably because some people approached them and were like, listen, we're going to do this show called The Valley, and we're following all your friends, and would you two like to be on it? And they were like, okay. Like, she probably, if he's saying she almost left a year ago, I'm sure they were approached a year prior to them filming. These things don't just happen.
No, it was actually way, because she addressed it. I think it was on Watch What Happens Live. Like, somebody asked her that question. I think it was either that or a podcast I heard it, but she addressed it. She said, listen, when we were first approached, it was almost like 2 or 3 years ago. Like, she had just had Isabella. And then by the time it came around, she's like, well, I mean, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Like, we're just going to, this is our life right now. So we'll let it, we'll let it play out.
Right.
And it's a good opportunity. So, why not take it?
And her daughter is young enough. Like, I would never, like, if you had a teenager and you were in this position in your marriage, that would be so much worse.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So
then Brittany and Jax are in a golf cart on their way to the restaurant Jax, that because he wants her input on the decorating of the inside of it. And they're going to be meeting with his business partners, which we already know he didn't put any money into it. It's all their money.
Yeah.
And, he says to her, make sure you let them know like what your ideas are and, be vocal. And she does. And she's excited. Like, she's like, I've been wanting to be a part of this. And, then they go sit down and they start talking. And she's like, what's going on with you? Why were you so quiet around them? I've never seen you like that. And he's like, he doesn't feel comfortable around these guys because he's just the face of this place. He's really not the brains and he's not the money.
I think that Jax is an extremely insecure person.
Yeah.
And, he can show all that bravado at some points in his life, but when in a situation where, it's a business deal and you have these people who are fronting it, and he probably does back down, like, doesn't know what to say.
Right. And he expresses that he's stressed out about, being a father, starting a business. Well, then he's doing the hair care line. He's starting the Jax. He's doing the show, The Valley. He's got a lot of balls up in the air, and he's not getting along with his wife.
Right.
So he
looks like a big douchebag.
Yeah, he does. He really does.
Can't help himself, but he just looks like a big douchebag.
I was surprised though that she did say we're going to still try next month. Like, they're still at that point, still trying, which, thank goodness it didn't work, right? Because that would not have been good.
No, because everybody is saying they do not think they're getting back together. Like, everybody who's been on Watch What Happens Live, like even Janet was on last night. Yeah,
she said that. Yeah.
So, I mean, these are people who are close to them.
Yeah, even Zach, her friend Zach, said it too. I mean, I don't think, listen, I think it's just like Danny, Jesse and Michelle. Like, they're better off happy apart than together and fighting.
Yeah.
And she deserves to be happy,
Imagine if she starts dating somebody. Oh my God. He'll go off the rails.
Yeah.
He'll go off the rails.
Yeah, he will. He definitely will. So then we get to the party, and Jax he says he's starting his own hair care line and skincare line, but It's not that. I
No,
mean,
it's Zion, XYON. I didn't look it up,
right,
but that was the product. So it's an already
right,
existing product.
right. He's just the face of it, and they're paying him to be a spokesperson, and he doesn't even
Right.
know what
To
it
lie
does.
and say
And
that he's losing his hair.
right, okay, Jax, you do you. Then Janet's talking to Jasmine, and she wants to know how the conversation went with Jax. And
Oof.
Jasmine says she doesn't feel comfortable, which good for her. You know,
Good for
Janet
her
is messy.
right.
Janet's messy.
That's what I have written down here. Good for Jasmine for not sharing what Jack said, but Janet was chomping at the bit. I don't know if you can hear, but Joe is in the shower and he's singing very loudly. So if you hear, and now Eric's probably going to start yelling from the basement, like, shut up, lower your voice. It's all going to start.
It's okay. It's all good. So then Jax and Jesse are talking to that pop-up vendor about Burning Man and the outfit that she's wearing. And they're both kind of flirting with her. And then
for sure,
they're wearing the hats, and then they're dancing, and then they're bringing the hats back. And then Jesse gets caught from Michelle flirting with her. Awkward. So awkward. Then they have the
funny.
It was funny. It was funny.
And they sit down to dinner.
Yes.
And he's very quiet, Jesse, which I guess is unlike him because everybody's like, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? And then he says he just had a session with the therapist, life coach, whatever, right before that.
Yeah. 2 hours before, he had a 1 hour session.
Yeah.
And he's realizing that his marriage is over.
Yeah. Which is sad because...
It is sad. It is sad.
I can't imagine going through that alone and then being on TV, with cameras in your face and you're on this show where people are being paid to cause drama. And you have something going on in your life that can really turn into some drama.
Yeah.
Oh, Kristen says he's being abusive.
Yeah. After he hits the table. And then Kristen gets up and she walks out. Oh, wait, before that happens, she's sitting at the table and she's talking to Luke, and she's like, he's such a douchebag. Even his wife calls him a douchebag. Imagine if I called you a douchebag, and Luke's like, yeah, you have. And she's like, no. He's like, no, yeah, you have. And then she was like, annoyed.
She's like, shut up. We're on camera, douchebag.
I don't like him at all, but you know what? I liked him when he did that. Yeah, you have. I don't know if you noticed this, but I didn't notice it until they got out into the hallway and they were arguing. They're all dressed really nice, and he's wearing some tie-dye T-shirt where the neck is all stretched out.
I did notice that.
I was like,
I did notice that. Like,
out of
it's
place.
Not Colorado, pal.
No. And why did
You're
Kristen
at
let
a
him?
posh restaurant in LA?
Yes. And why did Kristen let you walk out of the house looking like that?
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
Right. And then he repeats incorrectly what was said. He must have repeated incorrectly that Michelle said her marriage will be over in 2 months, but it was really Jesse who said that.
Right. And that's straight from Jax, who would be telling it.
Yep.
So then they're talking to the producers. The producers are trying to talk Kristen into staying. And, she's saying, I don't want to out their whole fucking marriage and everything I know about it. Jesse says, bring out any skeletons that I don't already know about my wife and I'll fucking bury you. And this is all in the hallway. Then Luke and Michelle get up and go out in the hallway. Michelle says to Luke, don't touch my husband. And he says, what are you going to do? And then Jesse's like, what are you going to do? And then the two of them are like kind of like going at each other. And then Luke says, your problems with your wife. And Jesse says, you are ruining my family with your lies. Kristen says to Michelle that Jesse says he's leaving you within 2 months, which is what Luke told her.
Right.
Then Jesse starts to walk away and Luke keeps yelling. So he goes to get at him and he winds up pushing Zach down. Did you see that? Like Zach.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Zach was like collateral damage. He goes to get at him and Zach's a big guy, especially compared to Jesse, because Jesse's a little guy, but he just had so much. He was angry and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Then the producers separate everyone, and then Kristen and Luke are walking out, and he says they're both trash. Jesse's a narcissistic asshole. And then Kristen says, because she has had a boyfriend for about a year. I didn't sign up for this. I'm like, come on, Kristen.
Yep. So she dropped the bomb. And then she said, I'd rather be on VPR. They don't want you.
No, they kicked you off because you're a racist.
Right. You're not going back there.
Right. That's not happening, honey.
No. But she dropped that bomb. Oh, and then we finally saw Luke say, I've had a secret that could blow everything up or whatever he says. And the producer's like, what? Yeah, that guy. He's an opportunist. He's definitely an opportunist. He's definitely with her to be on the show, I think, personally.
It's so weird. I won't even listen to their podcast anymore. I was listening to their podcast.
What is it, him and her?
Yeah. I was before the Valley. And then they rebranded the whole thing. It was just her. It was called like Love, Sex, and something.
Wasn't it her and that girl Dana that used to be on? And now Katie has one with Dana? Or did Katie always have one with Dana? And I'm confusing it.
I think Katie always had one with Dana. It was mostly Kristen, but she did have some guests on. But she had him on quite a bit. Like, yeah, he was the one helping her do it. Like, she didn't, I don't even think she knew how to do it at one point.
Probably.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't like them. I don't like her. Jax is a narcissist. Jax is
so messy,
unaware of himself and what he says and what he does.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Brittany.
I do too. But but her too, honestly. She knew who he was. He never pretended to be anything other than what he is. He didn't.
No,
she knew who he was. I mean, I know at some point in our lives, sometimes we all think we could change somebody. You're not changing him. That guy needs like serious therapy to be changed. And he's still going to be gossip and messy and shady.
It's true.
You might just tackle the narcissism. But she knew what she was doing. I mean, I think she wanted to be on the show too. Whatever, though. I mean, she's got a beautiful son out of it. She'll be fine.
Yeah, she will be
better
fine.
off.
Yeah, I agree.
Because did you catch that she made a comment when she was talking to Scheana, and she said there was a time she was making more money than Jax?
Yes, I did read something that they unfollowed each other on social media.
Because he's apparently, supposedly hooking up with their they had shared the same publicist, and now he's hooking up with her.
That's so messy.
That's very messy. I mean,
and that's typical.
Like Andy always says, go out of the group.
That's typical of him, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know how anyone could see Jax on TV and be like, yeah, like that's the kind of guy I want to be with.
No.
But I feel the same way about Sandoval.
I totally agree with you.
But then Allie said on Watch What Happens Live, because Andy asked her if she met the two Toms' new girlfriends, because both Toms have new girlfriends, and she said, yeah, they're both nice.
Wow.
I don't know.
I'm sure they're opportunists too. I wouldn't trust anybody if I were any of these people, like dating anybody. Because honestly, I feel bad for James. I just have a bad feeling that Allie's not in it for the long haul. Because look, now she's trying to get her music career going.
Yeah, and he could help her because he certainly has connections. I mean,
Yep.
I can't think of anything else. Can you?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Until next time, thank you for watching and listening to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly. Good night.
Good night.